hold back, sometimes I won't. I feel good, sometimes I don't. I finesse down Western Road.
All right, guys, welcome to another workout video. Today we're training some shoulders. So I will be straight up and honest with you. Shoulders is one of my weak points, so that is why I have decided to switch my routine up, where I am following a 4-day split right now, where day 1 will be legs, day 2 will be push, so chest and tricep only, day 3 will be pull, so back, bicep, a little bit of rear delt, and then day 4 will be strictly shoulders. So that's why today, this was on a Thursday, and every Thursday I'm doing strictly a shoulder day. So I started off my shoulder day with a standing barbell overhead press. I went more for strength here, so I did 4 sets of 6 to 8 reps. Big movement, and I've always decided, and I've always stuck with the fact that I want to start all of my shoulder days with a big pushing movement, and the barbell overhead standing press is by far the biggest push movement for shoulders that there is. Now, second to that, I decided to do a unilateral pushing movement for shoulders, so I did a standing one-arm dumbbell press. So this is a really good movement, guys, not only for the shoulders, for building up that front head and that front delt, but also for your core. So whenever you guys are standing, I want you guys to try your best to squeeze your glutes, consciously squeeze your glutes, and brace your core, and you will feel your obliques firing, because if you think about it, your core needs to be fully engaged in this movement. If not, you will literally fall over. So you want to start prioritizing big compound movements. And for those of you who don't know what a compound movement is, a compound movement is simply an exercise that requires more than one muscle group to work at a given time. So let's take this standing one-arm dumbbell press, for example, right? So this is not only working the front delt and the entire shoulder in general, but it's also working tricep. So it's a multi-muscle exercise, which is considered a compound movement. And a lot of people will prioritize, like isolation exercise. So for example, side lateral raises, but I won't do that. I've decided to prioritize compound movements. Why? Because a compound movement will take over and will work the overall shoulder, as opposed to just focusing on my side delts. Isolation exercise, you guys want to save towards the end of the workout when you are already pre-exhausted, and not in the beginning of your workout. Okay, but that will be a topic that I'll touch on in a later video when I discuss exactly what kind of exercise program and routine and sets and etc. that I'm following. So the third movement of the day was a seated standard shoulder press. And here I did 4 sets of 10 to 12 reps. And what you guys are going to see is I'll always start my workouts off with either a unilateral exercise, which is focusing on one side of the body at a time or one muscle at a time, or what I will do is I will incorporate a standing exercise. So for example, today I started off with a strength movement exercise, which was the standing overhead press, where not only are my shoulders and triceps engaged, but also my upper chest and my core. I'll save the seated exercises for later on, which is what you're seeing in this video now. Now in this exercise right now, what I'm doing is I'm doing a standard Arnold press. This is really good for building that upper chest, guys, and not only the upper chest, but the front and side delt. So what you're seeing here is I'll come down and I'll take that second, maybe like like half of a Mississippi, just to hold it at the bottom. So watch this, guys. So I'll press, and then I'll hold it there, boom, and then twist. That is so essential, guys. What I see a lot of people doing in the gym is they'll just literally come down, boom, and just like twist the exercise, which is okay, but you're putting your shoulder at a greater risk of injury. So that's why I like to hold the tension right at the bottom of that movement before I initiate the twist in my wrists, to really get that full contraction of the upper chest once I go ahead and initiate that twist at the bottom. So once again, I'm coming up, holding, and twisting, boom. And I completed 4 sets of 10 to 12 reps right there. So all of the presses were out of the way. So now what I ended up doing was, again, so compound movements out of the way, which was all the presses. Now I'm going to prioritize and focus strictly on isolation exercises. So my goal right now when it comes to shoulder development is really developing my side delt, okay, my lateral delt, which is basically that the part of the shoulder on the side which really gives you that 3D look. So what I ended up doing was I decided to do 4 sets of 10 to 12 reps of a standard cable side lateral raise. Now I'm going to tell you the difference between cable side lateral raises and dumbbell side lateral raises, because there's a reason why the first isolation exercise for my side delts, I decided to do a cable variation of a side lateral raise as opposed to a dumbbell side lateral raise. Cables, whenever you're doing anything with cables, guys, it's constant tension. So not only on the way up, which is the concentric portion of the movement, but also on the eccentric portion of the movement, which is on the way down as I lower the cable down before I initiate the following rep. There's constant tension on my side delt. Whereas opposed to when you're doing a dumbbell variation of a side lateral raise, as soon as you finish the concentric portion of that movement, which is on the way up, as you lower the weights, it's very easy, guys, to let go of that mind-muscle connection where you're just letting down the weights very fast and abruptly as opposed to controlling the weights. So that's why I prioritize a side lateral raise with the cable over a side lateral raise with the dumbbell. But after this front raise, you will see how I incorporate that side lateral variation with the dumbbells as well. So that's a quick little tip for you guys. So now what I ended up doing was after those cable side lateral raises, I moved on to a individual. So again, focusing on unilateral movements here, right? So I focused on an individual front delt raise, okay, with the dumbbells. And I did 4 sets of 10 to 12 reps per shoulder, per arm, okay? Now, I could have very easily picked, a weight that I could have done 4 sets of 10 to 12 reps, exactly same exercise, but incorporated both arms at the same time instead of doing them individually. So I personally like to do exercises where I focus on one shoulder, one arm, and then focus on the opposing arm, opposing shoulder. Just so that way I can focus on that mind-muscle connection, focusing on completing each rep as best as I can, as opposed to, maybe as I'm completing a front raise with both dumbbells at the same time, maybe the first 5 reps will go very well. But then you got to think about it. One side of the body or one muscle is always weaker than the other. So reps 5 through 12, the left arm could take over, the right arm could take over, and you're not going to develop muscular symmetry like that. I want us to focus on exercises where, yes, that's why I've always said, prioritize your compound movements where you're focusing on both, growing the shoulder as a whole first, and then when you're doing isolations, just focus on one side of the body as opposed to the other. That way we're building muscular symmetry and muscular strength at the same level, okay? Quick little tip there. Now, after that, what you saw me do was a dumbbell side lateral raise, which I did 4 sets of 12 to 15 reps. So once again, prioritizing the cable over the dumbbells, because with cables, again, guys, what do we remember? Cables provide constant tension on the muscle as opposed to dumbbells, okay? And then what I did after that, which is subsequently after that little snippet of the dumbbell side lateral raise, what you saw, what I ended up doing was a single arm, again, focusing on unilateral movements here, of an upright row. So this is really focusing on building that trap and that rear delt, guys. So again, I want us to think about the shoulders as having 3 individual separate parts. So we have the front delt, which is at the front of the shoulder, the side delt, which is at the side of the shoulder, and the rear delt, which is at the back of the shoulder. Each of those 3 heads of the shoulder need to be worked on properly and evenly and effectively, because a lot of people, guys, you got to think about it. A lot of people have very over-dominant front delts because all they're doing is pushing, right? You're pushing a door closed, or you're doing a bench press, or you're doing an overhead press. All of that, yes, it's a compound movement. They're compound movements, whatever, but at the same time, they're focusing a lot on the front delt as opposed to the entire shoulder as a whole. So that's why I said prioritize your compound movement. Yes, don't get me wrong, always start off with a overhead press as opposed to a side lateral raise, right? But at the end of your workout, make sure you're throwing in a side lateral raise or a cable variation of a rear delt fly, right? That way we are focusing on all three heads of the shoulders and they're all growing evenly, okay? Which is why you saw me do a rope variation for the rear delts, and then I just finished off the workout with 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps of dumbbell shrugs. Okay, guys, so I really hope you guys enjoyed the workout, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. And just a little reminder, guys, hit that subscribe button. That way you guys are always notified for those 3 videos, weekly videos that are coming up on YouTube a week. What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. I hope everyone is getting after their goals and catching up to the best versions of themselves. Today's talk is going to be a little bit different. The title is going to be No. Yeah, you heard that right. No. When to say no. I feel like a lot of us feel bad for saying no to people or saying no to things that are very temporary or very just in the moment. So for example, like your friends ask you, let's go out tonight, and you're very quick to say yes, although in the back of your mind you have something that you need to do or something that's gonna serve you as being more beneficial, in the sense of, maybe going to bed early tonight. That way tomorrow you can wake up a little bit earlier and you have time to hit a workout, or you have time to do something that's very important or that you're passionate about before you have to do things that are obligatory, like go to a job, for example, right? I feel like a lot of us feel the need to say yes all the time. And what that does is, in the moment, sure, you're not seeing the consequences of saying yes, because in the moment you see everybody else around you happy. Why? Because you gave them what they wanted. You gave them that response of saying yes, which is giving them something that's going to benefit them, and that's not really going to benefit you tomorrow, or let alone right now. I'm not saying that you have to say no, or you have to say no. So yes, I'm not saying that you have to say no to absolutely every offer that comes your way, but within reason, right? Like, especially within this quarantine and this time away, like the amount of times that I've said no to things, or I've said no to people. This is the first time in my life where I'm actually saying no, and I'm actually happy about saying no to people. Why? Because I'm putting myself first. I knew that opening up or beginning a gym clothing line, or just like a business in general, I knew that the hardest part would be to start. And that's where you really have to stay dedicated and focused. And that's a time where that business, that idea, that dream needs your undivided attention. So of course, I've said no to plans, I've said no to people, and sure, I've seen their disappointment, and I've seen them, kind of get angry at me and not really understand where I was coming from. But in the back of my mind, I know that I say no to them, but I say yes to my dream. I say yes to my idea. I say yes to my today, and I say yes to my tomorrow. Because that yes that I give myself today, that extra hour, those extra minutes, that extra day that I put within and that I put into my dream and my idea that I have going, is going to ultimately serve me tomorrow, and in turn, maybe not tomorrow or next week or next month, but next year, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, the people that I said no to are going to benefit, and are in the back of their mind, they're going to understand why I said no to them. Because in the end of the day, I'm not just doing this for me, I'm doing it for them too. So if anything, I'm helping them out, And the reason why I'm making this video, guys, is because, again, a lot of us feel the need to always say yes to people because we feel bad for letting them down. But in turn, we're letting ourselves down. And I cannot stress it enough. when you say yes to people, when you say yes to things, I'm not saying that saying yes I'm not saying that saying yes is necessarily a bad thing. But when you say yes all the time and you put yourself second, third, fourth, last, eventually you're going to put yourself last. And you're not going to prioritize your dreams and your goals. And then 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you're going to look back and say to yourself, why did I prioritize other people, other things, if I never gave myself precedence and I never prioritized myself? And that's why you're going to constantly be working for other people, and you're going to need other people's validation in order to, make your dreams come a reality or chase after what you want in life. So be your own support system. Say yes to yourself. And in turn, you're going to see how all the people that you said no to, although your circle is going to diminish, because it will. You are going to lose a lot of people. Don't get me wrong. You're going to lose a lot of people. But the people that stay close to you, you're going to know that you can value those friendships and those relationships forever. Because they're true. So yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I look forward to making a lot more in the future. Once again, weekly uploads, we're back on it. I know I missed last week. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes, but no excuse. We're back on it, and I hope to talk to you guys soon. So have a good week. Continue catching up to the best versions of yourselves. I'm seeing a lot of people making upgrades in their lives right now, whether that's, getting a new job or taking on a new responsibility or opening up their own business or, chasing after a fitness goal. Everyone, I'm seeing a lot of people catching up to the best versions of themselves, and that's all that matters. And I'm very proud of everybody out there. So yeah, guys, continue whatever you guys are doing. I'm very proud of you, and remember to catch up.